Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pipeline Podcast. I'm your host today, Daren Mcclimans, and today we are joined by Exit over here, our co-host, and the one, the only, the fabulous, the amazing, Behind the Colonel. How are you guys doing today? How's it going?
I am doing fantastic.
I put that on a loop. I'm so sorry. But guys, I was like, I made it really long this time. It's like, no, it's just going over and over again.
A little encore in.
Just going around the circle. Guys, how have you guys been this week? What a crazy week it's been for pop culture and trailers and just the media, just the MCU and just like the Marvel world. It's been a
They
really
saw Madam Web
one.
coming out and they were like, no, we got to get this.
We got to give them some, cover it up.
Cover it up.
It really did feel that way. Like it came out yesterday, and like each day, like surrounding it, there's been Deadpool 3, and then the Fantastic Four, which we've been waiting for like 4 years.
Yeah.
And X-Men 97, and weirdly enough, all the like Fox properties that we've been waiting to see for like 8 years. So
I didn't realize that. Good shout.
Yeah, like it's just like what a long time we've waited for all of these things to kind of come back. I mean, for the X-Men show alone, it's been what, 25 or so years since it ended. Like it's been I wasn't even born yet. Like it's crazy stuff. I've been waiting my whole life.
92, 93, is that when it ended? Or later than that.
I think it's 97.
97, it's much later.
Yeah, X-Men 97.
Oh, I thought it was like because it was like the time jump between them, so they're like call it 97.
No, I think it ended in 97.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's why it's taking place. Yeah, that's also the year that it's taking place.
I didn't realize it was like straight after it. I thought there was a break.
Yeah, that was interesting. I wasn't expecting, like, it was really funny because I was just thinking yesterday, like, that trailer could just come out any day now because it should be out soon. Like they said early 2024. We've been thinking March. It could just come out tomorrow, and it literally came out tomorrow. So that was very fun. But yeah, we're gonna be jumping into a lot of fun stuff today. Looking over to chat really quick. Darth Bunyan in the house. Darth Bunyan, how are you? My co-host on our other shows that we normally would do on Mondays. We're taking a bit of a break from that, but it's good to have you here. Here's Journey in the house. This guy behind the Colonel is here. Never seen him in my life. How's it been this past week with just like all these like trailers and stuff? Like, have you been like really busy?
Yeah, I've been. Yeah, especially Sunday. Sunday was pretty bad. I was just with. Honestly, I wasn't expecting Wicked to be like the trailer, the little first look that they gave. That was like really popular.
Sure. Yeah, and I also wasn't expecting them to drop them like all at once. Like they all were just kind of like, here you go, here's all of them now. Like usually they're like, okay, 1 hour I got this one, 25 or 40 minutes later here's this one, 25 more minutes here. But no, it's like here you go. So I feel very bad for all the reaction channels that try to cover all those movies and stuff. Like I feel for you.
I think all of them probably were like, besides the Disney ones, I think everyone was trying to release them early to get them out of the way so that like they could get them out before everybody else gets them out, but then everybody just had the same idea, so didn't work at all.
Sure. And also, like, I feel like they all did very well. Like Deadpool has become one of the most viewed trailers ever.
Yeah.
Like
in the first 24 hours. Yeah.
Like tree.
Which it's very insane looking at like Endgame and like Spider-Man No Way Home and all these highly anticipated trailers. And
the MCU is not dead.
Yeah,
definitely not.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. It's definitely very.
Darren's being a bit of a downer towards the MCU.
I don't know.
Wow.
No. I because like I do think it's very interesting because I feel like all the ones, because I don't agree. I don't think it's dead. I think that's like a keyword people like to use a lot because it's down in the dumps just a little bit. But like I do feel like all the ones we are saying that are the ones that are like an exception to those rules. Like Guardians is going to make money
franchises.
Either way. Yeah. And Deadpool is like, is it MCU? Like it is now, clearly, but like it wasn't, right?
Yeah, I'd love to see them bring out like another franchise that like no one cares about and make them love it again. Like that would be like the
Thunderbolts or like Blade, I think.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we're gonna be jumping into today's episode. We got a bunch of new stuff to talk about. Our first one here, something we don't typically talk about, but I'm a huge fan of. I think Connor, you're also a big fan of.
Oh, yeah?
Community, the movie.
Oh hell yeah!
Six
I don't
seasons,
love to come back for it.
6 seasons and a movie. We're finally slowly getting to that point.
They
That's
did that.
awesome.
So they got the 6 seasons and a movie, like exactly what they've been saying since season 2.
No,
That's
I think this show is going to be one of those shows, and I think it kind of already is. But I think it's like you're going to look back at the show and be like, what an experience that show was, and I think it's aged so beautifully, and especially once you get that movie, like, oh yeah, we did get 6 seasons, and we're also getting that movie. But Donald Glover gives us our first details for the Community movie. He had talked about how the movie will be a college reunion, and how and that Abed is now a big director, and this is his big breakout film. Like, this is his next ultimate film. Connor, we talked about this like while I was kind of going through the show at least a year and a half ago or so. We had talked about how you said you hadn't seen like all the way through, right? Just kind of bits and pieces.
I originally had seen until midway through season 4, and then I went back and then rewatched the whole thing with the season 5 and 6 as well.
Perfect. Are you a fan of it?
Yeah, the rewatch it brought it up a lot for me. I think season 6 I'm still not crazy about, but the first 5. Even 4, like I know a lot of people don't like 4 and they're like the gas leak year, but I think 4 is better than 6, honestly. Wow. But then season 1, 2, 3, and season 5 are like peak content.
6 is in my like top 4, I think.
Oh wow!
I really love.
I don't know what
I like 6 if I think of it as like a spin-off, because it definitely feels like a separate show. Like,
it does.
If they were just like, okay, this is a new show with like some of the old cast, but some like new ones as well, I'd be like, all right, bet I kind of love this. And like when we're like going through the final season, I was like, I would like more of this. Like, I don't like it has a very different vibe from the rest of the show, almost like a more like wholesome vibe than I think the previous 5 did. But
they were Yahoo for the final season. They were like NBC for the first 5, and then Yahoo for the final season, I think.
And then they closed down their whole studio thing, right? They're like, that was like the last thing from that thing. Like, they killed that whole brand, which is really funny.
Yeah.
Colonel, are you a fan of this show at all?
So I haven't watched it like sat down and watch every episode through, but like when it comes on, I'm watching it. Yeah, I enjoy it a lot though.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really funny. I'll be honest, from just what he said about like this being, they're all getting back together from college, and like him making his movie, like that's exactly what I imagined a Community movie being about. Him making, like, I always imagined it was going to be a movie about them making a movie. Like that's such on brand for them. And just everything I've heard about this movie is just incredibly hype. Like I'm glad that they've got the whole like main cast back. Like they're like, Donald was the one thing that was like, if they're doing a movie, I think you at least need Donald back for the film, because I think that's what everyone wants, right? He's been gone for so long. You needed him back for this.
I wonder, like, from the side cast, who are they getting back? Like, the characters that were only showing up in, like, seasons 5 and 6 and stuff like that. Like, Jonathan Banks back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love, outside of, like, your Pierce and stuff, like, clearly he's dead and stuff like that, so you probably don't want him there. But, like, I would love if all the other side characters kind of came back, and
that'd be cool.
I'd be very curious how much, like, Leonard, is he still like alive? Is that actor still alive?
I actually don't think so.
Oh no!
Let me double check that. I remember when I was watching with Blind Wave, I think somebody brought it up.
No!
I'm gonna double check because I don't want to be wrong and say somebody's dead when they're not.
You spread this massive rumor.
Yeah, no wait. Yeah, he died in 2019.
No!
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me so sad. I hope they do like a photo of him or something.
I'd say they will, at the end of it.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, out of all the old characters, he was one of my... Actually, there's a lot of old characters in that show now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like, there's at least 4 or 5.
Yeah, there was like the whole group that Pierce hung out with in one of the episodes.
Oh, yeah, there's that. You're right. And then Betty White was in those early episodes with the... She
was in a few of them, yeah. She was like a teacher, wasn't she?
Yeah. She like attacked Jeff, I think. She was like beating him. Got him. But yeah, no, I'm very excited to see kind of where we go. Do we think? I think it's currently set for next year. Do we think it's going to make that date?
Yeah, because they were planning this year, so I think because of the strikes and everything, moving it to next year is probably a good shout.
Jeez.
Yeah.
2025 is loaded.
It's insane.
Loaded.
So much good stuff.
I'm so scared, and I actually think this one might do well because it's not like an in theater movie. It's like a Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
I think it's Paramount Plus. So I think.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I'd be willing to put money that next year will be like one of the best years for movies or TV shows ever.
Like a 2014 or a 2019.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good for like the fans of this and the content we're getting, but box office wise, I'm terrified of the bombs we're getting because there's just going to be so much coming out. People are going to have to choose. Like I think it's going to be like our last year where there was a lot of good stuff, or just like I guess a lot of just stuff coming out, but people had to choose between. Do I see this or do I see this? And the box office, like everyone's box office just suffered. So many things just didn't make as much as they probably should have been if it was like a 2018 or 2019 or even like a 2020, right? So I'm very nervous. Like we'll talk about this when we get there, but like Fantastic Four and Superman being the same month. I'm nervous.
Away, isn't it? 2 weeks between them? Yeah.
And then you have like your Jurassic Park if that ends up coming out, and like I'm nervous because I want them all to do well. Like I wish we could live in a world where Marvel and DC could both put out movies in the same month. They're both $1 billion, and it's like okay, cool, sweet, but like that's just not the world that we live in now, unfortunately. So we'll see how it all folds out. Next up, speaking of Fantastic Four, wow, that actually lended itself very well. We have officially the cast of Fantastic Four after like 4 years of waiting. They announced it like 3.5-4 years ago. It's here. No more leaks. No more rumors. No more fan casting. It's out. Behind the Colonel, you seem to be very excited for this movie. How are you feeling about this casting?
So first of all, I know a lot of people are like, oh, Pedro Pascal's Mr. Fantastic. Honestly, just with his recent performances, especially as like Joel in The Last of Us and obviously like Mandalorian, I'm interested. I'm not sold yet, but like I think he can do a decent job. I was hung up on John Krasinski for a while, but you know, you have to let it go at some point, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he can do. But I'm really excited to see what Joseph Quinn's gonna do, because this feels like, you know, he was in Stranger Things. And he's in the new Quiet Place movie. But other than that, this is a huge role for him. So I'm excited to see what he does with it.
Yeah, that's the one where I feel like there's such a overreaction to that casting.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand. Like I get people I think Stranger Things has that effect on people where it's like there are certain people who are like, anything Stranger Things is bad. It's the worst thing ever. It's the most popular show ever. We hate everything about that show. And, you know, as someone who does really like that show, I often think that's a very weird mindset. I wouldn't say that, like, that's the best casting ever made, but, like, he'll do fine. Like, I don't get the reaction to it, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's definitely...
I'm a little bit more interested in some of the things, because obviously they were like the logo and stuff, like the change of like how it's totally retro, and how it's looking to take place in the 60s, and all those rumors that have now come out. Yeah, that's the stuff I've really been like, wow, okay, that's I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. Yeah,
that's the thing that I'm very excited for, and I think it's going to make this one feel like I think it's going to make it stand out a lot. I think Marvel needs to do more stuff like this, because again, I love Marvel movies. I'll be there day one for most of these guys, but you know, I think for a lot of people is like, hey, you got to do stuff that's different. You have to do stuff that's unique. And you know, like looking at all the retro kind of like Marvel movies that we got, if you like them or not, I do think they stand out. Like your Captain Marvel, your First Avenger, your WandaVision. Like I think those all stand out because they are set in a different time than just your Captain Americas and your Iron Mans and stuff. So that's very exciting, and I'm curious kind of where we take that, because obviously they're like, we're going to see them jump in some way or form. Like I don't think we're going to stay in the 60s, you know.
Lost in time, probably, or lost in space.
So actually there was a spiel about that. Actually, someone had mentioned that Reed Richards in his universe would be the first person to ever discover the quantum realm. And that he and the team get stuck in there, obviously maybe for like 1 or 2 years, in there is worth like how many years in the
like
real
50
world.
years here.
Yeah. And that they jump out. Yeah. That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah, I mean that's been the theory for so many years now. And like there's been leaks saying, "Oh, this is what it's going to be," but also like this script has changed like 10 times.
Yeah,
so I don't
absolutely.
know.
Yeah, they've had like 4 or 5 directors attached to it.
Yeah.
Like it's
so like
it's a different
if that
film now.
was the leak back in like 2021, it could totally not be the leak now. I mean, there are people saying that like they're in Ant-Man 3, and it's like, oh, maybe they'll be the post-credit scene is that they're stuck in there since 60s or whatever. Which again, sorry, go ahead.
The original film probably was something like that because like Peyton Reed was supposed to do Fantastic Four for a while.
Yeah.
So like Peyton Reed could have had them in Ant-Man 3. That was good to tie Quantum Realm stuff in.
Yeah.
And then this film got delayed and changed like 5 times. So
I mean, I almost even think that like your Ant-Man 3 could have been like a Fantastic Four movie. Like I almost think if you sub Ant-Man for them, like you start the movie with them in the real world and they get stuck in the quantum realm, it's their journey kind of getting out, could have been kind of cool and probably would have fit better than Scott, because I feel like they don't really use Scott's like Ant-Man-ness in that movie very much. Like I don't know. Not saying that I would want that for your first like Fantastic Four movie, but I do feel like I could see the vision on like how that would work.
Yeah.
Connor, what's kind of been like your experience with the fan casting and stuff for Fantastic Four? Because again, I think we had actually talked about the Pedro stuff when it was first like highly rumored. We're like, oh yeah, this is a thing, but it wasn't a thing yet. But we're like, we don't know what's going on here. Thoughts on all these like fan castings and stuff, or I guess not fan casting, just castings.
Yeah, they must have either they were holding this for some reason, or I think maybe just the contracts and stuff must have taken ages to get finalized, because like Vanessa, Joseph, and Evan, they all 3 of them were fan casted like back
for a while.
It was like mid last year, I think. Like DCEU leaks or something said that these were the 4 official Fantastic Four castings back in like October. Yeah. So they've been in the running as the main faces of the casting for a while, but they must have just taken ages to get contracts finalized and signed and stuff like that. I mean, I'm fine with the casting. I'm kind of like feeling I'm fine with all of them, but it's definitely a case of I need to wait and see what they are. Like, I think Pedro's a really interesting casting. It's not who I would have went for, but I don't have a problem with it. But I also would need to see what he's going to be like as Reed. And that's kind of how I'm feeling for all 4 of them. Well, yeah, for all 4 of them, I think it's like they're not who I maybe would have traditionally chosen, but I think that they can all do something really cool. I just need to see what they're going to be like as it. Yeah. I'm really happy that it is in the 60s, because that's been my one hope since in Doctor Strange 2 when they mentioned the Fantastic Four and Stephen Strange is like, the Fantastic Four, didn't they chart in the 60s? Like since then I've kind of been like, oh, it would be really cool if they were in the 60s. Yeah. And I think they're going with the retro look as well is great. It feels like they're really kind of, I think it's smart to make Marvel's first family, the first big thing in Marvel comics be the second thing, I guess, after Captain America in the MCU, like one of the first things set chronologically in the MCU. I think that's a smart decision. It's going to really make them stand out. And I think they need to make this Fantastic Four different, because we've had 3 Fantastic Four movies over the last 20 years, and none of the 3 of them have really done too well or been too critically received well. So I think it's really integral that out of all of the upcoming MCU films, I think this is the one they need to get right.
So, absolutely.
I would definitely agree. I really would just want them to use these costumes. Like, I'm very worried that this is just for the fan art. If they just put these in live action, like, what a culture shift that would be. Just like in like an MCU where they often like over analyze their suits and make them all very like tech based and stuff like that. Just like these like leather. And, like, it looks like they're wearing just PJs, and I think that'd be a lot of fun. Like,
I hope they.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it would fit that era very well, and I don't know. I definitely think it'd be this like fresh of breath air for kind of where we're at in the MCU currently. I also
I was gonna say, being that like as of recently, Marvel seems like they've really been trying to go after those like traditional suits. So that's just one more thing that's like, hopefully, can we do that with this movie?
Yeah. I also think it'd be really funny, and like clearly they would get new suits by it then, but I would love the idea if they were like in an Avengers lineup or whatever, that all these guys have these super expensive fancy suits and they're just here in these PJs and just chilling out like, hey guys, we're here. Like
I think it's great because it looks like a great contrast between John Krasinski's suit, because he's like a modern day Reed Richards, so he's got like an almost military-esque looking superhero suit because he's from a very superhero-oriented time, whereas these guys are from the 60s where there isn't really superheroes, there isn't really superhero costumes, so they're just kind of in this. Like, I'm sure there's a reason why they're in this. Like, there's probably something about these suits that works for the time period they're in. But I think it's just it's a good contrast to show like traditional retro style superhero suits in contrast to the current day really, I don't know how to describe it, but kind of the almost the over designed suits. Like, they work for their time, but it's simplistic and over designed. It's great.
Sure. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I'm just kind of looking at this, like, going kind of back to the Pedro thing. Like, when that was first announced, I wasn't sure how I felt yet, because like I don't see Pedro as Reed. Like, that's not a casting. When you tell me like, oh, Pedro as your Reed Richards, I was like, okay, you know. But like, I'm so excited. And, you know, I've said this on all kind of streams I've done about this. Like, I'm so excited for him to show me why he's Reed Richards. I'm so excited because I know Pedro is going to do that. Pedro is such a good actor, and he is going to turn Reed Richards into like he's going to transform himself into that character. And I think going forward, when people think of Fantastic Four, they're going to think of Pedro. I really do think so, and I think he's going to.
Yeah. I also think if they're gonna, you know, choose any time period to do this with Pedro, like if they were gonna do this in like maybe, I don't know, early 2000s, I don't know if I'd be like, I can't see Pedro like that. But like something about his face mixing with that 60s like style, I'm kind of into that.
Yeah.
So I'm
100%. What do you think we're going to be like? What do we think the plot of this film is going to be? Like, we had talked about the like quantum realm. Do you think that's going to be like a whole film type of thing, or just kind of an end of the film thing? Like where do we think we're going to take this film?
I think like first act probably completely in the 60s. Second act, they get caught up wherever they are, if it's the quantum realm, and then they're kind of stuck there until towards the end of the third act. And then we've got a very similar kind of ending to Captain America First Avenger, where they get out and they're in a whole new time period. And it's a little bit of them sort of learning about time period. Probably not too much. They're probably going to want to leave that until whatever the next film is. But
yeah, I
think it's going to be a very similar structure to Captain America.
Sure. I could see that for sure. I would also just say, like, because Fantastic Four for the last while, I've definitely very much kind of lost interest in it. Not because of the film itself, just kind of how long it's kind of taken to get to this point. Like, there's just been, again, 4 years ago that they announced this and Blade, and you know, you're like Armored Wars and a bunch of these projects that haven't even filmed yet. I don't think they've even like written the script for this yet, or at least fully yet. Does this kind of bring a new hype to this whole thing? Like, now that we have the Fantastic Four here,
I think it does.
Yeah,
it's something to grab onto.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is that it shows me that Marvel's not just trying to make everything all technology based and everything, and it's like there is some hope to add some style to things.
Sure.
For me, it's just reassurance that they're still making the film. Because with how many problems they've had with it, with how many directors and versions of the script they've gone through, it felt kind of like Flash to me, where it was just non-stop stops and then starting and then stopping again. Whereas like now it's real. They've got a cast, they've got a poster, they have reaffirmed the release date. Whether it hits that release date or not, I feel like it's happening. We can be excited for it.
Yeah, and also I think like the vibe that I get from a lot of Marvel movies, and again, I love Marvel, like this is my brand, like I love these guys, but like with a lot of these current projects that go from writer to the director and actor to actor, like it does sometimes feel like it's a product and not a project.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's like Fantastic Four really felt that to me. It was like, we got to get this thing out, we got to push it out, we got to get someone in these roles. But I think having this art here, having kind of just general idea kind of what they're going for and the vibe, and I love they came out on Valentine's Day. Like I think that's very smart for like your first family, and you know, Reed and Sue are such like this iconic Marvel ship. I don't know, it kind of grounded it in a way that feels like, oh, they're actually making like a thing. Like we're getting Fantastic Four. It's like a thing that Marvel, again, what should be one of Marvel's most important projects is Fantastic Four. Like you gotta get this one right. You have to get it right. So that made me very happy. And I'm very excited to kind of. Apparently it's next year. Like apparently they're gonna get it all done by next year. Let's hope.
Yeah, we'll I think my, like I was kind of mentioning, my most anticipated like thing about this is like when the MCU first started, it felt like, you know, even if they weren't the best movie, every movie had a distinct style. You would go from like Black Panther, and like I like that because like just as of lately, it's not the projects have been bad. I just think that they've all kind of felt like they've had too much Marvel Studios interference. And I want the directors to feel like they're having that style. This feels like, oh, hey, we're going to give you guys some, you know, let you guys make those creative choices. And that's what I like.
Completely agree.
Who's currently the director of this?
Matt Shackman, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
The
guy who did WandaVision and he did some of It's Always Sunny. So.
Okay, I could see that then. Yeah. WandaVision, I think, had... I think WandaVision had a lot of like great style to it.
Yeah.
Like the only issue I have is kind of like it did feel towards the end. They're like, all right, you're doing this now. It's like, oh, okay, we're moving this way now. But like if they bring some of that like style and like creativity to it, I would love that. I think that'd be a great choice. Do we have any final thoughts on this casting, this art, kind of things that we want to see in this movie? Obviously, this is going to be a thing that we end up talking about like a lot, you know,
it's going to be
over the next year and a half. But like,
I think I'd just say I'm excited to see Herbie in it too. I'm glad that he's going to be in there.
Yeah.
So somebody fan cast Jack Quaid as him, and I'm like, hell yes, get that guy in the MCU.
Yeah.
No, I think it's. I'm excited. I'm excited to like be officially getting updates on it, to constantly be seeing things about it, to getting the first look at the suits whenever they come out, like properly.
I'm excited to be excited.
Literally, I'm excited to be hyped for this. Like to be okay with hoping it'll be out.
100%. Now we just need Blade. Just give us. Just finish that script. Like you start. Blade is so weird to me because it should just make the Blade movie. Like it's not. I don't feel like it's that hard. And I think it's very funny that like your Michael B. Jordan film is like they've started to film and stuff for their vampire movie, and it's like, but Blade was announced like 3.5 years ago. Why is it taking so long?
Absolutely.
But we'll see. We will definitely see. Going over to DC, Creature Commandos has a R rating, says James Gunn. This has shocked some people. This for others, it's been like, no, we knew this from the start. Connor, let's start with you. Do you like the idea of this being a R-rated show to start the DCU? Or do you have some, I don't know about this type of things?
I mean, I don't think it's a surprise because it's James Gunn and his Suicide Squad project.
Radar,
and like you can tell that when he gets his hands on the really kind of outcast characters, he likes to push the limits of where he can go with them. So I think for that reason, it makes sense. I don't think it's a good idea for it to be. I don't think it's a good idea for the first DCU project to be R-rated, but it just ties into my, I guess, problem with the fact this is the first DCU project. Like I don't think this should be the first DCU project at all. So it kind of ties in where like I don't think the first DCU project should be R-rated, but I don't think this should be the DCU project at all. The first one. So I think like as a James Gunn project, it makes sense. I think it's going to feel like your Suicide Squad or your slightly more R-rated Guardians of the Galaxy, you know?
Yeah. I think I had a pretty similar like opinion to you. Like I had said on social media, I was like, I don't really like this. I think your first introduction to the DCU should be a entry point for everyone. Like that's kind of how I went into it. And like a lot of people were like, well, no, it's fine because no one's gonna watch the show and it's gonna be like animated and stuff like that. And it's just like it being animated shouldn't mean that everyone shouldn't be able to kind of come into it. And I do think, like, I don't know, that's like saying you're like Iron Man shouldn't be for kids, and it's like, well, no, it should, because that's your starting point. That's how you kind of start this whole thing.
It should be universal. Like,
I was a kid. I was a kid when the first Iron Man movie came out, so you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, 100%. And again, like I kind of get what James Gunn kind of going with. Where like Superman's the real first project, and that's where you should start. And this is just kind of a thing to be like, okay, we need to get this out kind of sooner than like everything else, so let's do this show and stuff like that. I definitely get that, but I still kind of think that Superman probably should have been your first. Like I still think.
Yeah.
Like, I think you push this to like August next year, so it comes out just after Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. No, I agree. I think because like, you know, it kind of gives me like, obviously a lot of people now, especially like in the realm of superheroes and stuff, are used to all these superhero shows and all these things, and we watch them, but to make that first big boom, you know, for the DCU, I think it needs to be a movie. I think people need to go to the theaters. I think that's what needs to happen. And especially with, you know, Superman, probably one of the biggest names in superhero history, that's what they need to start with. You know, make it known. And you know, Creature Commandos, almost not a lot of people are going to know what that is, even from the start. And having it R-rated is, you know, then even limits that. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know how I feel. I'm excited for it, but I'm nervous for how well it will perform.
Yeah. It's like anybody who isn't a hardcore DCU fan or DC fan in general isn't really going to be there for this on day one.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I think even like a lot of people that are DC fans are going to be here because this is such a, and again, and like this is what I want more of in DC are these very like obscure characters that like prior to this announcement I had never heard of these guys in my life. I had no idea what this was, and again, I'm very excited to learn. Like I'm so excited for James Gunn to make me fall in love with this Frankenstein creature and like all of these things that he's going to be doing, and I fully think that it'll be great. But like, yeah, I definitely agree that it should have been after Superman or even after like a Waller or something.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting. It comes out this year though, so it's crazy that like it's like the like DCU starting within these next 7-8 months or so. Like it's coming up, and so it's crazy.
I think I need to see more from the show before I like officially get excited for it. Like I need to know what the tone is they're going for. Like is it kind of like Peacemaker but animated, or is it more like Harley Quinn, you know, in terms of the tone and vibe?
Sure. Yeah, and you know, it's also hard to say because I don't know these characters, so I can't be like, oh, they're going to be doing issue 967 where they bomb a building. Like I can't say what they're going to be taking these guys because I don't know them. But yet I am going to be very curious just to see how well it does. Like, do these big channels start reacting to it? Are people talking about it? Is it going to be trending on social medias? Like, I would assume at least a good portion will try because again, this is the start of your new DC universe. Like, this is, I have a feeling James Gunn is going to sprinkle characters in here that we're not expecting. Like, I've said like maybe a Wonder Woman cameo or something, right? Like maybe something, you know, these sprinkle of characters that like, oh, we're going to be seeing them in live action, right? So we'll see. We'll see.
Some of this cast here we are seeing, or some of the characters here we will be, because I think that's why he said that he's casted certain big actors,
David Harbour,
and Crossbones from MCU, like playing. I can't remember where David or Crossbones is playing Rick Flag's dad. So whoever that is like going to be in the MCU.
Yeah.
It is Crossbones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they got like Weasel as well, who we've already seen in live action.
Yeah. Yes.
So I think there's definitely going to be some cameos or something like that, or like characters showing up in an episode where like, oh my god, now we know who's playing them in the DCU sort of thing.
Sure. It would be crazy to just have like Batman show up and be like, oh, he's played by Jensen Ackles. Oh my god, I just looked on the IMDb there. It's you know something crazy. It's just like you know, like that's how you cast them is like you find out through the show. It'd be very.
That would
fun.
be like that'd be insane.
Yeah. Really fun. Ben Wong has been cast as our new Karate Kid for the upcoming Karate Kid movie. Connor, we're very big fans of the Karate Kid franchise, Cobra Kai. It feels like we talk about this like every chance I get. Like any piece of news, I'm like, let's throw this in there before like we can talk about it. But we officially have our lead. Last time that we had heard that like they were doing auditions from all over the world, just trying to find, you know, no gender, no anything. Just like, all right, anyone can do this if they're from a certain age, come to us and we'll see what we can do. Do you like this casting? What do you think about kind of where we're taking this next kind of Karate Kid movie?
I don't really have too much of an opinion on the casting because I have no idea who it is, and I kind of expected like this sort of thing where it would be completely unknown thing. Plus, I believe that they picked the right choice, because after doing such like an open audition, going through however many auditions they probably had to go through for this, I'd say hundreds upon thousands they had to go through if they were doing an open audition. So I think after all that, they found who they thought suits the role the best, and I think it's gonna be strong, whatever it is. I think I've seen some people be disappointed because they're expecting like Miguel or something like that to be the main character, but it's not that kind of. It's not gonna be that movie. Like, I'm sure we might see Miguel in the cameo role, but it's not a Cobra Kai movie. It's a new version of the Karate Kid for a new generation that just happens to be connected to the old stuff. And I think for that, this works well. I mean, I'll see. Like, we need to still see.
Time will tell, right?
Yeah, but I think for now, I've got I'm optimistic about it.
I love the idea that they go through like hundreds of kids and
just get Miguel back.
They do it. It's like, it's Johnny Lawrence. He's our next Karate Kid.
Today's Johnny Lawrence just shows up.
He's playing like a 16-year-old. Like,
he's wearing like a bandana. Love it.
I'm not a grown-up, I swear. No, no. I'm so excited for this. This is slowly becoming one of my most anticipated movies for next year. I'm so excited.
This year, isn't it? It's December.
Yeah, I thought it was at the end of this year.
Yeah. If we think it's still going to
I thought it was next year. No?
Oh, they moved it?
Is it this year?
Maybe.
No. It is this year. Yeah.
I'm expecting it to move still, but like, I think for now it's still December officially.
I think I still have the mindset that it's last year. Like, it's still like 2023. Yeah,
everything's
so
it's still 2023.
Yeah, it is this year. Huh? Oh yeah. Colonel, do you have any kind of experiences with the like Karate Kid or like the Cobra Kai franchise?
So I've watched like seasons 1 and 2, or maybe only season 1 of Cobra Kai. I'm actually currently watching through it right now. But I've watched all the original Karate Kid movies, and I love them. I obviously, like you, I have no clue who this is. But I'm willing to give them I'm willing to give him a chance and see what he can do.
100%. Yeah, I know he was in a Disney Plus show that was recently canceled after the first season.
Wasn't it
American Born? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
something. American Born Chinese or something. Yeah. Apparently he's good in it. Like, I haven't seen it, but from people that have been talking, said he was good in that role. And actually, it was a good show, and they just canceled it. Which, shocker, Disney Plus. I think they're slowly turning into the year like Netflix, where there's like throw anything out there and then cancel it if it doesn't blow up. So
see if it catches and then just reel back in. Yeah.
No, 100%. It's like, okay, we have Marvel and we have DC, or we have Marvel and we have Star Wars, and then everything that's not that canceled after one season, and then you're good to go. That's our model.
And then add about 30 National Geographic shows with random celebrities.
Every time I go on there, it's like new to Disney Plus, and it's just a whole line of just National Geographic stuff.
I saw that like Bug's Life with your Aquafina the other day. I was like, what a weird choice for a Bug's Life. Draven in the chat. Draven, how are you today? I hope you're doing well. But yeah, no, I'm also just kind of curious to kind of see how we do just bring the band, right? Like how we kind of connect all these different threads. Because obviously this is not Jaden Smith. This is a new kid. So how does this kid come with Daniel and then get to Jackie Chan? Like, I feel like there's so many different lens.
Sure.
Like what's the plot of this movie? And I'm so kind of curious how it kind of comes to be and how we connect like all the different dots together. And also,
cool if it was like, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
It'd be cool if it was like a Cobra Kai TV show situation where they both have separate people they're training and they meet at like a karate tournament or something.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Sure. Yeah, and I'm also just curious kind of where Daniel ends Cobra Kai. Like, is there like did they have to change the plans for Cobra Kai when this show was announced to be like, okay, we need Daniel here where he can get here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how are we doing these threads to get to that point would be.
I mean, this movie was announced 2 years ago because I remember we were worried at the time because when they announced it, they were like, it's a reboot. So we thought it was going to be its own whole thing.
Yeah.
But then they changed it, so now it's like connected to everything. So I
Mhm.
wonder if it changed because of that, because of people wanting it to be connected to Cobra Kai.
And hopefully it's had enough time to kind of connect with the show. Obviously, I'm not at that point yet, but I'm hoping it connects with it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I hope so as well. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, and also like they had said they were gonna like spin-offs and stuff. It's like, was this the spin-off, or did they have other plans? Like were they involved with the movie by that point, or is there still plans for like a spin-off? Like, are you gonna get like a Miguel show or something?
I still think the best thing to do with Cobra Kai is like at the end of it, do a flash forward, and then we come back and it's some of the kids doing their own dojo, not DJ, dojo at the end of the show.
Yeah,
like Daft Punk's in it. What?
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I've always said that you could probably just like take those 4 main kids and just send them to college or something. So like your Sam, Tori, Miguel, and Robbie, right? Just kind of have them off, and they have their own place that they're training new kids, or I don't know, they're just in college and they're fighting crime or something. I don't know.
Fighting crime.
Vigilantes.
I mean, that's basically what the show is. Like I don't want to spoil the show for you, but like the latest season felt like a superhero show. Like it got very crazy.
Suit up.
basically. Okay, Coyote versus Acme.
What are you doing, Zaslav?
This is a story that we've been covering for a minute, and there's been a lot of valleys to this. So we started it a couple months ago, a good chunk of months ago, and we found out, hey, they're cutting the show. We're just getting rid of it. It's gone. Has David seen the movie? Nope. Has never seen it. Has no interest in seeing it. This is something they've been announced like 7 years. Like it was announced a long time ago. You got names like John Cena with it, like a very big cast. I think Looney Tunes is a popular brand. Like you put a Looney Tunes film in theaters, and people show up. Like people love your Space Jam and stuff like that. And apparently it was like very good. Like it seemed like a really fun premise. And they're like, it's gone. We're not doing anything with it. And then they announced, after all the backlash, we're like, okay, we will open it up for people to buy it, to come in here, Netflix and Amazon and all these kind of things, to come in and maybe purchase it. And now we are hearing that they never had an intention of even doing that. They made it very hard for people to even bid on it. And David's never seen it, and they're just going to delete it. Just never.
Someone needs to be a savior. Someone needs to be a hero.
Sneak into the vaults and get it.
Leak it. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
I saw that like that they that when they were trying to sell it to people, they had no intention of taking any offers. Like they were just doing that for PR purposes to say, oh, we're selling it to somebody else. But like Netflix or Amazon or whatever could have offered them way more than the movie's worth, and they still wouldn't have taken it, is what I'm hearing.
I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand. And just like press wise, like what are you doing? Like if you're trying to grow your brand and kind of be profitable again, like this, I don't think this is how you do it. Like this isn't how you get movie makers to come and work for you. This isn't how we get people to come into the theater. I genuinely don't understand the thought process of it. Like Looney Tunes is one of your most oldest and also most profitable franchises. Like when you think of Warner Brothers, in my opinion, I think of Bugs Bunny.
Tunes.
I think of Bugs Bunny. Like this is one of
in front of the Warner Brothers logo.
What's up, Doc? Like that's 100%. And again, you have John Cena, which is a big star. People will come for him. People will come if you put out like put a trailer with this with like a fun pop song with it. Like people will show up, and I don't get it. I genuinely just don't understand. I don't even think it's that expensive. Like
I was gonna say like how despite how the movie actually was, how ratings wise did like Space Jam: A New Legacy do? Because profit wise, because it wasn't in the movies, right? Was it in the movies? That was during COVID, right?
It was 2021, and
so
I just looked it up. It has a $70 million budget. They could have made that back.
Easily.
Easily.
I feel like, obviously I don't know the guy, but I feel like Zaslav just has sort of an ego where it's like he's stubborn and he's like, no, I said it's gonna get shelved, so it's getting shelved. Like, you can't offer me any amount of money for it. It's getting shelved, and it's so stupid.
Okay, so Space Jam 2 made $163 million. So that's not great, to be fair.
No, I thought it made a lot more.
Hold on, what's the budget? What's the budget on that?
Oh no.
4 billion budget.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
right.
Oh, it's not coming up for me. I don't know why. Budget. What's the budget?
It's been deleted.
It's 150 million budget.
Oh boy. Okay, I'm not seeing it here, so I won't waste.
I just saw on Box Office Mojo.
Okay. What do we got?
150 million budget. Space Jam 2 normally would have been a disappointment if it didn't outperform the original. Box office store.
That's funny. Space Jam is a really weird movie, like that classic movie, because I think under normal standard it'd be considered a terrible film. But everyone loves that movie. Like I think we've all just agreed this is a classic and we will cherish it and we will love it.
Yeah.
And they made the sequel and I would argue it's about the same quality, but we're all just no, it sucks. It's terrible. It's just well, yeah, because you're grown up now and you're not going to have that same brain that you had when you were 7 and watching it in your basement. Which I think is really funny. But yeah, no, but again, I don't understand why you don't just put a movie like this out. It clearly
would do well.
Money.
Yeah.
Even on
WB
streaming,
kind of needs the money now. They need the money.
Even if you sell it, Netflix, I think a movie like this could have done amazingly, or even just put it on Max. I feel like on Max it could have done really, really well. It could have become popular, and
especially with
reaction
kids.
channels would have gone after it. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. It's sad. I hope we get another update being it leaked on YouTube or something it leaked online and everyone goes and watches it and they lose $70 million for nothing.
That's kind of my personal ideal thing I want to happen is for these films that they're deleting get leaked, because that means that WB isn't making any money from them leaking. If they go ahead and release it after this, then they're making money from it despite putting everybody who worked on this film through so much pain and suffering the last few months, whereas if it leaks, they're just not going to make anything from it.
Nothing.
People get to enjoy it anyway, and it's out there.
Yeah, and man, I can't imagine Batgirl. I would love a world where Batgirl just comes out right now and we all get to see it. The anarchy I think that will come out of that would be pretty funny.
And I think it's still possible for that. I think when they say deleted forever, I think it's on someone. Right, yeah, I think either it means not right now, or I think no matter what, somebody has it on a hard drive somewhere, because there probably were a bunch of copies of the film during all the different edits during post-production. So someone maybe it's not the final cut, but someone somewhere has a version of the edit that it could get leaked someday. And I think it's the same thing.
Imagine being the person with that power.
Oh yeah, it's I could leak it. Maybe.
I wonder if there's a world where currently it's no, you can't legally once you have tax write-ed it off, you can't do it again. But if in 20 years they're well, there's actually a loophole, and if we can put this out in theaters now, and now people can come back 20 years later and go see this movie, and it makes a bunch of money. Could that be a thing?
That'd
where
be
they're
cool.
This is how we make money, which would be kind of I would kind of hate that, because that's their way of taking advantage of their directors and stuff.
Oh,
just
a
way to get back money. You know what I mean? It's just all a marketing ploy to make it more popular or whatever. People were saying that with your Sonic movie, where oh, this was all their plan the whole time, make it look bad, and then we fix it, and then we look like saviors, and more people see our movie because of it. A lot of people have said that type of thing throughout the years. So it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting for sure. Superman and Lois. This came out right before jumping on stream today. The final season of Superman and Lois won't air until fall of 2024. Me and Connor are both very big Superman and Lois fans. Colonel, are you a fan of the show at all? Have you seen it?
So I'm on season 1. There are a lot of stuff I'm just watching right now. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I'm watching right now, but I do like it. I do. I'm a big fan of it. Yeah.
Season 1 is one of my favorite seasons of TV of all time. I think I love that season.
So good. Where are you at?
think I'm only on like episode like 3.
Oh, okay.
I think,
So
yeah,
you have a good
yeah.
thing ahead.
Yeah.
Keep watching, like even if it's just like the first season. Like
Oh yeah, no,
season...
I'm not planning on stopping. I've got
yeah. Yeah, no, that first season is something just
So
really,
good.
really special. Yeah, I think it's probably my favorite piece of like Superman media. Like I think it really just
I think
understands
it might
that
be for me as well.
character. Yeah.
Honestly.
No.
I think it's a perfect season.
It really is. And I think while it was airing, like that was such a like that pilot, watching it live, like we kind of knew it was something really hype and something really cool, but like I don't think any of us truly knew what it was until we were there. Someone that watched all the other like CW shows at the time. What Flash was in its 7th season, 6th, 7th season. And like and it aired the same night as The Flash as well. So like you'd go into an episode of The Flash and then Superman Lois. It's like what is this experience? Like it was something very like surreal, seeing what they were able to do on such a smallish budget, something that I think some even big blockbuster like films haven't done. But fall 2024, Connor, are you shocked by this? Do you think it could have been done sooner? Are you happy that they're kind of waiting for this to like wait to put it out?
I mean, I'm not overly shocked because Superman and Lois in general is a show that has some pretty lengthy shooting times and some pretty lengthy post-production times, especially. Like we saw back in season 1, in fairness, I'm not sure what the COVID restrictions are on sets currently, but I would guess that the COVID restrictions were much stronger back in 2021 and 2020 when season 1 was filming than right now. They're probably loosened a little bit, but like season 1, we were constantly having breaks because they would start, they filmed the pilot, and the pilot took like 4 weeks, and they were averaging like 3 or 4 weeks per episode, I think, to film, which is pretty incredibly long for a TV show to have episodes filming that long. So it meant that we would get 2 or 3 episodes and then like a month-long break because they were still doing post-production on the episodes that were next to air. So I think pushing it out till now, or pushing it out till fall 2024, it could just be a scheduling issue, but I think it's good from a perspective of this is giving the show a lot of time. They won't have to rush through the post-production. They won't have to rush through the filming because they know that they've got like 6-7 months until they need to air. I think it's good. My one worry is just that like Superman and Lois isn't the best with keeping their sets hidden from like set leakers and set pictures and stuff like that. But in the past, we've gotten a lot of spoilers about things coming because of set pictures leaking, but it hasn't been overly bad because the episode that they're filming would be like 6 or 7 weeks out. For it to be almost a year out, it's a long time for us to be getting like spoilers and leaks and stuff already for the show that it'll be pretty impossible to avoid. But yeah, I think it makes sense for the date they're going for. It doesn't really ruin anything or excite me more. It makes sense with knowing what their production time is like.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's definitely I think it's our longest break up until this point. It's like it's gonna be like a year and a half.
Yeah, they're about to ended June last year. Was it July?
June. Yeah, I think it was either June. I don't know. But no, I mean that's definitely like feels like very streaming, where like these shows you're kind of used to it being like, all right, there's 5 months off and then it comes back for its new season. But no, I'm very excited for it. I'm glad they're taking their time. This is kind of the last CW DC thing ever, probably. Like this is really the end of that era. I've never been more excited, but also I couldn't I'm also kind of willing to wait because it's like the last thing ever, and like once it's over, it's over. Like it's just done. And that's very sad. But no, I'm excited. Stranger said, in my opinion, nothing has beaten Smallville. So
I prefer Smallville, but I think this is still like I think season 1 of Superman and Lois is maybe the best piece of Superman material I've ever seen, but I think as a whole Smallville is better.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I think Superman and Lois is probably my favorite Superman thing. Like I'm trying to think. Like I love the classic movie.
Classic movie is my favorite movie of all time. I love that so much.
Yeah, that's fair. I would also say, not to spoil for what happened at the end of the last season, but if we are committing to doing more of that, they will need a little bit more time to
They will
do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like them getting some extra time to make it maybe look better than they would have been if they had like 3 months to make it look good.
Which that's actually a really, really, really good point, because budget wise, like budget's important for, I guess, sets and like what you're shooting, but in terms of post-production, budget doesn't really affect that. Like time affects that. So if they have a year and a half to go from doing like visual effects on certain characters or certain moments and stuff like that, like they can make it a lot better than if they had a budget that was 10 million higher per episode and they were coming out like this month. Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for that, they had the same budget going from season 5 to season 6, but season 6 looks so much stronger from a visual perspective because they had so much longer to make it. So I think it's a good point.
And also just kind of going back to like what you were saying, like I think hopefully all the episodes will be done before we even have to air the episodes, because we had that issue in season 2. I think it was especially season 2 where like every 2 weeks there was a break, and like that ruined, that almost like I think it made a okay season even worse, and I think that's one of the reasons we kind of look back on it so harshly, where it's like, just I'm tired, I'm ready for it to just be done, because that was such a rough 2 weeks on, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks, 1 week off again. Like that was just like a really crazy time as far as just like talking about the shows and stuff like that. But yeah, do you have any kind of final thoughts on this?
I'm just excited to see what they do. I think it's good what they're doing with the cast from prior seasons, where everybody seems to be getting 2 or 3 episodes to come back and kind of wrap up their various characters since it's the final season, even if they're not regulars. I can't wait to start hearing things about the season, because like we haven't actually really heard a whole lot about the season yet. Like we don't have any specifics on what the plot is. We don't really know any new characters who are showing up. We don't, other than knowing exactly who the main cast is for the final season. We don't really like the only main cast members we know are ones who were in the last season. So I think like we don't know anything about new characters, about plot points, about old characters who weren't in season 3 coming back. So no, it's exciting to kind of be completely unknown, but I'm definitely at that period now where it's been so long since season 3. Like season 3 started a year ago, I think. A year ago in 2 weeks. I think it started early March. So it's almost a year since the last season started. So I'm excited to start to get new information.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like and again, like, you know, they had announced that it was coming back for a new season right after it finished airing, right? That it was getting that season 5. And then since then it's kind of been like this weird like roller coaster of all the cast is leaving, but wait, actually they're not, they're coming back. Oh wait, we don't know what they do, you know. So it's going to be very interesting to kind of see. And again, like you are right there, we've heard nothing about this upcoming season, and maybe that'd be a good thing. You know what I mean? Like maybe we go in and we know nothing about the season. Like we go
That'd be
completely
crazy.
blind. Like season 3 outside, like leaks aside, we didn't really know that much about the season. Like we had seen some things where like, oh, maybe that's that thing from the comics that we're doing. But like, I think the show usually does a good job about not like announcing a lot. Like they kind of
this show definitely
go in blind.
I think this show is so much better than like Flash was in terms of announcing characters ahead of time or announcing plot points ahead of time. Like for Flash, it felt like you could almost always tell what was happening over the next 5 episodes, because they'd always, if a character was showing up or if somebody was returning, they'd always announce it. Superman, Lois, it might leak, but I don't think that they announce things a whole lot. Like I think they keep their cards pretty close to their chest, which is really good.
Yeah, I mean, I was even very upset with them for announcing the villain at the end of the or like at the end of the season last year, because we had seen nothing on set. If they didn't have they didn't announce them, we would not have known that they were popping up. So that was a bit frustrating, but also very kind of exciting to kind of see where we're, you know, going into this final season. Already, Super Bowl was this last week, and we got a whole bunch of insane trailers. Now, obviously, we're going to be talking about our Deadpool and our all those kind of stuff, but I do really want to talk about everything that wasn't Deadpool first, because I feel like we're going to be talking a minute about Deadpool 3. So let's just kind of go through the list here. We had 4 of these kind of big trailers from the Super Bowl, and then a couple the other day as well. First one being the live-action adaptation of Wicked. Colonel, what's your kind of experience with the Wicked story? Are you excited for this? What did you kind of know prior to this kind of coming out?
So I haven't seen, like, I know the stuff about the Broadway play and stuff, and I know what it means to a lot of different people. If you guys remember a few years ago, or I don't even know how long ago it was now, but we got that weird movie, Oz the Great and Powerful, and that was a really weird movie. I don't know how I feel about that. I just don't know how I feel about that movie. But I'm definitely excited for this. I think it has, I think the production value on it looks really good, and for good reason. And I think, because I believe this is part 1, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is, they're making a part 2 of it. So I think that this, I'm excited for it. It's, something a little different than our usual. So I'm excited for it.
I think with a movie like Wicked, and I'm kind of going into it the same way I went into like your Hamilton. Like I've listened to like some of the songs, and I know what a big deal it is. And for that reason, I'm very excited for it, because I finally get to experience, hopefully, what a lot of people have been for many, many years now. Like I've tried to like avoid some of the music because I've known this movie was coming out. I was like, okay, I want to kind of save myself for when I'm in the theater with that surround sound, seeing this event. And it does feel like an event movie for at least some people. Some people have been waiting for this to come out for a long time, like all the way back in like 2018, I think it was announced. Like it's been in the works for a while. There's a big cast surrounding it. I'm super curious to see kind of what they give us with this film.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Connor, do you have any background with this?
I know of Wicked. I haven't seen anything from any other stuff. I haven't heard any music from it, and I did not watch the trailer. I will probably see it though. I generally tend to like new releases like this. I tend to see them at some point, so I probably will see it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think the trailer, I think it's a gorgeous trailer. Like, I was actually kind of shocked how like breathtaking it is. Like, it really feels like they pulled you into this world. And I think Oz is one of the most interesting like fantasy worlds that there is. Like, Wizard of Oz is just one of those franchises that I think no matter how many people try to do their own spin on it and stuff, I'm always very fascinated with that world.
Yeah, I think there's also like, being that, I mean, we've had the Wizard of Oz, and is there a book about this too? I don't know. So I haven't read the book, but I will say, like, being someone that's just watched the Oz the Great and Powerful and the original Wizard of Oz, I feel like there's a lot to this world that hasn't been explored. Like so they could definitely, you know what I mean, do something with that.
Yeah, they often just tell kind of like the same just general story, and I feel like you definitely could be like, so like, what's that guy Frank doing? Like, let's tell his story instead.
What's he doing over there?
The world? Yeah, like just there's something that's in the world of Oz. It's not just like Dorothy and all these wizards. And I know, like, Once Upon a Time, like when like back when that was airing, like they did a whole arc on this, and they tried to do a little bit more with that. But no, I'm always very excited to dive into this world and see what they do. And it's coming out the same day as your Moana sequel as well. So that's going to be a very musical, like, blockbuster weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, I think. So I'm actually very curious what ends up on top, like what ends up making more money, because both are powerhouses. Like I can see both making a lot of money.
Because it's like, it seems like it's going towards that sort of Hamilton audience. And Hamilton did really well for Disney Plus. So I think like a lot of those are going to be hyped to see something like this in cinemas. Yeah. But I could see Wicked like doing crazy well.
Yeah, I mean, and also so close to like your Christmas as well. Like, you'll get the Christmas audiences being like, "Oh yeah, let's go. Let's take the whole family to see Wicked and stuff like that." Or the like parents go see this, and then the kids go to see Moana or something, like split up the families. You go this way, I go this way, type of thing. I can see that.
I could also see, because like obviously Wizard of Oz is like one of the most like classic family movies of all time. So that's, especially if they put it around Thanksgiving when family's going to be getting together. Yeah, that's good. I think it's going to do really well.
Yeah, 100%.
Wizard of Oz might be like the most iconic film that I've never seen. I think that's like the one most
You've
iconic
never
film
seen it?
No, and this got brought up in college because like, I was surrounded by film students. So like, I think we were talking about like big movies, and somebody talked about Wizard of Oz. I'm like, yeah, I've never seen it. And then I pretty much got outcasted for the rest of the day. And I was like, all right, well. But I think it's like
Yeah.
the biggest movie I've probably never seen. I think is what it
Sure.
was.
Yeah, that is very crazy for someone that's like gone to film school and hasn't like I definitely feel like that's one of those that is like, oh yeah, that's like one of those like you have to see type
Yeah.
movies. Like I saw it. Just like, did they show movies inside your film class? Like
They no,
during
yeah,
the course?
we watched like some like every week, but it was almost always
Crazy.
non-English language films is what we watched.
Oh,
We
that makes
we
sense.
did
Though,
watch
I
a
guess.
few like big ones, like ones from the 40s, run a lot from
Yeah.
like Hollywood and stuff, but in general it was German cinema, Spanish cinema, French cinema, stuff like that.
That's fair. Yeah, we had watched it in our like film class back in like 11th grade or so.
Okay.
And like that, like as a like those classes weren't really film classes. They were like, hey, we're gonna show you a movie and then you write a paper about it, and we're not even gonna read the paper. It's just like watch a movie and say something about it. It's like, okay, cool. Like
be quiet, fun. Class.
Oh yeah, like
wow.
They're not really teaching. I mean, they'll bring up some stuff and like this is what a camera does, and this is the definition of like cinematography. Yeah, you're not really learning how to make movies or anything. You're just kind of like talking about them, I guess. Yeah. But no, I mean, this was a film I grew up on. Like I remember like my grandma had the like VHS of it, and I would watch it. It's very weird because I was very scared as a child. Like I was very sensitive when it comes to movies. So like you're like Sleeping Beauty would scare me, and then I'd watch like freaking Wizard of Oz with like the witch and the flying monkey.
Oh yeah, it was scary as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, like it should have scared me, but I was like, no, this is fine. This is totally fine.
So is Wicked like?
It's a prequel. Yeah.
Prequel to the Wicked Witch. Is that what it is?
Yes, I think
the Wizard of Oz movie, or I don't know.
Yeah. It's like it's about the like witches when they're young, I think.
Yeah, because I know they're all based on like a giant book series that has 20 or something books in them, but I don't know like which, I don't know where everything falls in terms of the story.
100%. And also like I think this is one just like you're like Hamilton that I think I'll like go down a rabbit hole once I see it. Like once I watch it, I was like I'm obsessed with this thing. Now I want to learn all the behind the scenes things about it, and I want to watch the play, the actual play of it at some point, like all these different things. I
mean, that's one of the things I know is like the original Wizard of Oz. It's just a super dark behind the scenes story because the actress was just the main actress for Dorothy went through hell making that film. So like that's the one thing I do know is just the behind the scenes stuff for that film is crazy.
Yeah. So shocking to be Connor. I can't believe that's never come up in our conversations that you've never seen Wizard of Oz.
I'll probably watch them before Wicked.
Yeah. Wait. Okay. So like, have you seen shows do a parody of?
Oh yeah, like I know about like Yellow Brick Road and.
Okay. Because like I've seen so many of those, like freaking Phineas and Ferb and like Sweet Life on Deck have their own Wizard of Oz episodes. It's like Sweet Life on Deck. I feel like should not be doing a Wizard of Oz episode, but they somehow did it. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
I feel like I probably know the whole story based off of parodies.
That's fair, yeah. And I mean, it's a very simple story. Like, it's the most simple story you could ever think of. Like, I bet you could just go through and tell me every plot point of the film without having seen it.
Apparently, she's not in Kansas anymore. Does that have anything to do with the story?
Spoilers, Connor. Oh my gosh. Speaking of films I've never seen, Twisters 2. Trailer for Twisters 2. I've never seen the movie Twister. Have you guys seen it?
I'm with you there. I have not seen it. I know. So it's one of those things like, you know, when you're a kid and like the adults are in the room and they're all watching a movie, but you're just like not looking at the TV at all.
Yeah.
That's this movie for me.
Yes, my parents love this movie. Yeah. It's a very like Top Gun type movie, I think, where like they watched it when, you know, they were teenagers and stuff, and they loved it, and I hear it's great. I've just never seen it. So as someone who kind of just watched this trailer without having seen the original, I thought it looked fine. It looked
looked like a movie.
Glenn
it looked
Powell,
like
a
Tornado movie. I will say though, like definitely does give you like your Top Gun Maverick vibes to it, where it's like it feels like a like it kind of feels like a sequel to a very popular film that my parents would watch, and it doesn't help that has Glenn Powell in it, who's in both of those movies. Connor, you haven't seen it, right? You haven't seen the classic?
I saw it. It's kind of similar to you guys. You were saying like it was just on in the room when you were there. I do remember they put it on when we were in. Do you guys have woodwork class over there? It's like
wood shop.
Yeah, maybe it's like you just
Yeah.
use tools and make things out of wood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we had a free woodwork class at one point, like I don't know, 9 years ago. I don't know, but like we had a free class and they put it on, and I didn't watch it at all. It was just on in the background. And that was that was that.
That's fair.
That's my experience with it. I didn't watch Australia yet though, but I think it makes sense that it feels like that because you've got a film from that era that. Yeah, Glenn Powell as well, but the film from that era, and then the sequel is going to probably feel nothing really too much like the original, because like Top Gun Maverick doesn't feel a whole lot like the original Top Gun, but I think they're both good films, but for different reasons. I think this is probably going to be the same thing, where it's like Twister and Twister 2 or Twister is the same for different reasons.
Yeah.
Someone. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's fine. Go ahead.
Someone had mentioned, funny enough, it kind of has to do with that movie. When this was announced, someone thought they were bringing back that decom about the Twitches or something. Like, someone had said, are they bringing this back? And I'm like, I don't think it's that. I'm pretty sure it's a sequel to the Twister the movie.
Sure.
And I just thought that was funny. Yeah.
Yeah. No. And like I think there's kind of something fun where like same with like when a Willow came out, where it's like, okay, there's a new franchise type movie coming out, but there's only one. Like I only have to watch one movie to get caught up. There's something kind of like freeing about that.
Yeah.
Like,
no
our
franchise.
next film, like I've never seen a Planets of the Apes movie, but now it's like, do I watch all 13 movies leading up to the year? Do I rewatch the trilogy? Like
2 years ago, right?
Change.
2 years ago, I watched all the Planet of the Apes films, including the originals, as well as the animated show from the 80s.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the 70s, and then the live action show from the 70s or 80s as well. And it was a journey. You got to get on that. You got to get on that.
I kind of like low-key want to. Like, there's something about this like absurd content and it's like there's like a lot. There's
so much.
There's a lot of movies. Yeah. Like I don't know if I'll dive into like the weird like TV shows, but like at least go through all the films. And I thought about when a movie comes out, we'll like rank all the movies or something.
That'd be fun.
Be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But no, I mean Planet of the Apes. This is the fourth film in this kind of set of movies, right? Like they're not all part of a franchise, right? This is just kind of like a set.
Yeah, it's like the reboot trilogy.
Set.
This is 100 years after the last one. 200 years.
Wasn't it? I thought it was 1,000.
1,000? Oh, damn, maybe.
Was it not? Hold on. Let me look it up.
Maybe that would make sense because there was like a giant 1,000-year gap in the originals.
I heard like 1,000, but like maybe that's just me being like.
Because they did the same thing in the originals where it was like some of them were set kind of still connected to modern day at the time, and then the apes started rising up, and then they did like a giant time jump to way later on in the next film. So it's probably like similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember the original trilogy, like how like emotionally like mature it was. Like it's it's very like it's not a. I mean, I guess kids can watch it, but I don't think I would understand it if I were a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean this is a film that I've been told like you have to watch these movies. They are some of the best films ever made. They're just some of the greatest.
I mean, do you know the ending of the original 1964 one? Like, because have you seen?
No, I haven't watched that. I haven't seen anything.
Okay.
I know nothing.
Okay, interesting. I'm curious to like hear what your thoughts on that would be then when you guys watch that.
I gotta watch the original or the show. Like the only ones I've seen are the ones that came out in the 2010s. Like those three. Those are the ones I watched.
Okay, interesting. Because the ending, I thought the ending was pretty like iconic of the original, but I guess not. All right, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I know like lines of the film, like our friend
you blew it up.
That sort of thing. No, like there's a line that's there. I know the like no that they Braden has as part of his like intro for like his podcast. Okay, it's 300 years. It's a 300-year time jump. Okay, took me like 5 minutes.
That's still a sizable one, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and like going into this, like at first I thought it was like, okay, this is their reboot, like they're rebooting it again, but apparently no, it's just part of this like this modern franchise. Which again, like I remember, I think it went with like Madagascar 3 or something, like when the franchise was first getting started. Like I remember ads and stuff for it. Hadn't seen any of it though, so this is a I'm very excited to just kind of go down this journey though, because again, I hear they're like really, really good.
The original still really holds up. I think that the 1969 it's still like genuinely great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited to kind of go down this like rabbit hole of everything. And then we have I guess we haven't talked about like the trailer itself. Did you guys see it? The trailer?
I didn't yet, no.
No?
I have seen it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you like it?
I did like it. I did like it. Yeah. Yeah.
I had watched the trailer, just someone like on the outside being like, I don't know, should I see all the other ones? Just kind of judging this one off of the other ones, and it looks really good. Like it, like just like on its own, it looks like a good movie. Like it looks like a movie that you need to see like in a theater. Like it feels like a theater experience.
An experience, yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. You know, a lot of people were joking. I think it was when the first trailer came out for this movie. The one shot of I'm not totally sure what the new ape's name is. I have no clue because I know Caesar, but I don't know. Yeah. But the one shot where he's on the horse literally looks like if you guys have played The Last of Us 2, where you get into that big wide open area, it looks like almost I thought it was that shot, and I'm like, who made this?
Grabs them, yeah.
Naughty Dog, what are you doing in this movie?
Yeah.
you recreating it.
It also just looks gorgeous. Like I feel like we're in like a day and age where some of these
Who's directing this one?
Someone that has a name.
Person.
What is it? Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
Yeah.
What it's called?
What a name too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a mouthful. Director Wes Ball.
Okay. Oh, John Bernthald's doing that music. Did Daredevil.
Oh. He's done 2 movies. Maze Runner and Phoenix Forgotten.
Oh, okay.
Well, good on him. Good on him. He's making a movie.
Make another movie. Let's go.
He's doing it. He's doing the thing. But yeah, no, I'm very excited. It comes out in May, so I do have a decent bit to get caught up on these, which could be fun. And then Godzilla X Kong, the sequel to Godzilla versus Kong, came out a couple years ago. I'm not a huge MonsterVerse guy.
Same.
I don't think.
So I actually wanted to talk about this a little bit because I thought Godzilla versus Kong was good. I'm like, okay, it's 2 big monsters and they fight. I get it. But I posted my trailer reaction to this and it did really. I'm like, I didn't know this was a big deal for a lot of people, and apparently it really is. Like, I'm gonna go watch it, and I'm sure it'll be fun to watch, but I don't get like really deeply invested in it. Like, I know there's a show about it, and I just Monarch. I have not watched the show.
Monarch's pretty good. I did like it. As somebody who doesn't like the monster stuff, I thought Monarch was good.
Okay, maybe I'll have to give it a watch. Then.
Yeah, I have it up on my roster of things to watch soon. Probably prior to this film coming out. No, I mean, I feel like I haven't had like, I don't think any of them have been bad or anything. Like, I think they've all generally been like pretty okay. Yeah. And I think Godzilla vs. Kong was my favorite just due to just like I almost feel like this is what movies are. That's part of this experience. Like, it came out during COVID, so I saw it in my house, and I almost feel like I didn't get the full Godzilla v. Kong experience, because I do feel like that's one that should have been seen in a surround sound with big screen and just seeing them clash with each other. But like, you definitely get that vibe of like, this is like cinema in the form of like in its almost purest form of just like, this is fun. Like, you're seeing, it's like the fun you have as a kid where like, oh, you got your one action figure and then the other, and then they're fighting, and these two join forces, they this action figure, like that's kind of what these films give off. And I think it looks gorgeous. Like special effects again look horrendously good. Like it definitely gives me the vibe of what I often like in these like big scale like superhero films, of, like Thor coming down and like battling Thanos, and it's kind of a big like tactical thing that looks fun.
Yeah, like when I hear popcorn flicks, I think of this.
Absolutely, yeah, that's fair.
They had one. What was it? I think it was Godzilla King of Monsters. I think out of all the MonsterVerse movies, that was my favorite one that they've put out. I thought that one was pretty decent.
Sure.
But if I'm being honest, don't get me wrong, I love Godzilla and Kong. They're like the 2 classics. But I think I would get really invested in the MonsterVerse if they were to like really expand into the other monsters, like I know there's like, I don't know all of them by heart, but I know because I remember when they were doing when they made Godzilla versus Kong, they had like the whole opening sequence to that was like, oh, there's these two monsters. It's like a battle for like all time or something. And like, I want to know those other that's what I'm interested in. I want to see, I don't know, just to throw something out there like a giant alligator man, like that. Like I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I think that would be really interesting if they were to just start making films based on that.
Monarch is about the group that investigates these monsters. So in that show, they delve into like the history of the organization, how it connects to kind of these events that have happened. So I think if you're into that stuff, definitely watch the show.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely like a good point. Like they are kind of like focusing on the same kind of two monsters thus far into the frame, and I don't think that's been like an issue yet. But like I would almost say like after this, maybe do like a Mothra or something that we haven't.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of that I couldn't. Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, have we seen him yet? We've seen him, right, Connor? Or no?
We have.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, we have. Okay, cool.
I haven't seen Godzilla versus Kong, but I've seen Godzilla 1, Godzilla 2, and Kong Skull Island.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I would also love, I mean, obviously not the same franchise, but I would also love more like personal stories like Godzilla -1 if they were to do more stuff too. Yeah. So I'm like, because I liked Skull Island. I thought Skull Island was pretty good.
I really like Skull Island. Yeah.
So if I'm let's get some new monsters in here and let's make some like personal stories and stuff. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also say this one looks a lot more like, I don't know if you guys have all seen the trailer. It looks a lot more like sci-fi. Like it looks a lot more like cosmic. Like it kind of feels like we don't really care too much about the like logic of it all. We're just like they go through a magic portal.
Yeah, I was gonna say it definitely feels like you couldn't just watch this without having watched the others because like I think in the trailer there's like a whole whirlpool. They're like, oh, we're just gonna jump in. They don't explain it at all. They just jump in. They're like, just accept that that's what it is.
Yeah,
and
it feels very like Magic School Bus where they're like, get in, kids, and they just go down the giant portal. Yeah, which I'm okay with. Like, that's the type of movie where I don't need to have too much logic. Like, I feel like you can just have two people clash and it's fun.
In a world of two monsters, there's not much logic to be had.
Sure. Yeah, no. It's like, we have a giant monkey guy and a giant dinosaur like
teaming up.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I think it's very funny. They're like, it's a buddy cop movie. And I was like, that's hilarious. Like, it's a monkey and a dinosaur.
Buddy, who's the cop?
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Like, it's so funny. I'm so in. But yeah, speaking of being super into things, the first trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine was released during the Super Bowl this week. Not Deadpool 3 anymore. It's Deadpool not a Deadpool and Wolverine 3.
And Knuckles.
Yeah.
Those names have been really funny where I just love the thread of each person adding a new name and it comes down to like 50 different characters down the list. It's really funny. Love it. Oh, Colonel, let's start with you. Deadpool and Wolverine, you did a reaction over on your channel. Yes. Are you excited? Did this trailer
Absolutely, I am. And you know what? You know what the thing is about this? Like, I know the one like GIF that has been like trending on Twitter. It said, X. So you used to call it Twitter. Was the whole like gun thing that he did, where he was like, that whole thing. That's great. I love it. Yeah, I love that. But because we do get a few good jokes and like just funny camera shots and stuff in the trailer, I was so nervous that Disney was going to just make it like silly and not like properly R-rated. And this looks like what I was hoping for. This kind of, I still need to see a few more things, but it looks fun. I'm excited for it.
This feels like, and we had talked about like, what's like a Marvel outing and then what are, these things that they're passionate about. Deadpool 3 feels like a Ryan Reynolds movie outside of just like, it's another MCU film. Like, this feels like, Ryan Reynolds made a movie. Like, this feels like a Deadpool movie again. And I almost feel like that's maybe where some of the hype is coming from. Like, again, this is the one of the most popular trailers ever made. Like there was such a boom. Like it came out and instantly it felt like everyone had watched it. Like and there was such a hype to that because we haven't had that in a minute. I feel where like okay, everyone's excited for like a MCU project. Like it feels it's very rare now for everyone to be on board. We're like, yep, it's here and it's great, and I'm very ready for this. Connor, you did a video over on your channel.
Sure did.
How are you kind of feeling?
No, I'm really really excited for it, and I think it's kind of just like what you were saying about how everybody was hyped for this. I don't think the MCU is dying or anything, but I think this really is sort of like it definitely is reinvigorating the hype surrounding the MCU. Like you're seeing a lot of people who kind of had tapped out of Marvel movies, were like, there's too much shows, too much movies, I'm not going to try and keep up anymore, are now like, oh, Deadpool's back, definitely going to go see this. Like it feels big for Marvel. It feels the kind of thing they needed, because Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and this, I think, are the two things, and Loki, I think Loki's fantastic, are like all the things that these last few years of Marvel are what they need. That they need projects like this that are just doing some really cool things. And like that gun scene where he's just kind of reloading and stuff like that just feels like a comic book scene. Like it's just something really cool. And I think in general, I appreciate that while they had jokes in this trailer, like they were really playing up the fact that it's just going to be a cool movie as well. That it's just going to be a fun movie that happens to be inside the MCU. Because it doesn't feel like a traditional MCU film. It feels like Deadpool 3 that just happens to be inside the MCU, that just happens to have all these other characters as well. I also so happy they just ripped the TVA blaster off and just like dropped it straight away, because I'd gotten spoiled for that a year ago and I was so annoyed I got spoiled for it. And then in this trailer they just reveal it straight away to make it feel like it's not even that big of a spoiler. Also Matthew McFadden is going to make a great TVA agent. I'm really excited to see what they do with him. But yeah, I'm really hyped for it.
Yeah, the TVA was one of those things that I forgot wasn't like announced. Like, and I think, you know, if you're kind of in the space of people that talk about these things, it's almost unavoidable to not see some of these leaks and spoilers and stuff. And like seeing all these reactions, people being like, the TVA is here, and it's like, oh yeah, people didn't know that. I forgot. It was more of a like, oh yeah, the TVA, and like I was keep waiting for like Mobius to show up, and I was like, oh yeah, he's not there anymore, and that makes me sad.
I think Matthew's going to be like the new Mobius, like, because it feels like that he has the same role where it's the way Mobius was with Loki in season 1. Matthew is to Wade in this. In this thing. Yeah,
which is smart, I do think, though, because then you definitely do have the thing of like the TVA can be re-explained to like through Deadpool, because Deadpool probably doesn't know who this is, but also you're like, oh yeah, this is Owen Wilson. Everyone else has seen him in 13 episodes worth of things, and you don't have to reintroduce a lot. Like I could see some cameos, like I could see like a Renslayer popping in or something.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to see other characters show up.
Yeah, some of the Loki cast show up, but like it definitely gives you the vibe of like if you've been checked out of the MCU for a while, you can kind of jump into this relatively unscathed. Maybe there'll be some references, maybe there's Easter eggs. I guarantee Deadpool will start naming off some of the MCU characters, and he'll probably name drop like a She-Hulk or something. Yeah,
you see him like saluting Captain America in the trailer.
Yeah,
comes up on the screen. That's so funny. That's the kind of interactions and stuff I'm so excited for. Is like Wade's reaction to these characters.
Yeah, and also it's just so like it's so crazy just to hear him being like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like hearing that in universe is something very crazy. And I think this whole thing is just like very surreal, like the whole experience. Like I still haven't like I haven't comprehended that there is a Deadpool 3 yet, that Hugh Jackman is back as your Wolverine, and he's going to be going very meta with it, and he knows about the MCU. And I think he's always kind of known about the MCU, right, through his like wall breaking jokes and stuff. But the fact that he's like very meta into it, and he's going to be killing or saving like the Marvel universe. I don't know what direction we're kind of going with that, but like it's exciting.
I think it's really exciting because like when they had with Deadpool 1 and 2, they had the X-Men movies, they had this all the Fox stuff, but how many years has the MCU been going on now? Like 15?
Yeah,
like 15 years. I mean, that's 15 years that Deadpool can literally just they can pick and choose what they want to talk about, make fun of, have him enter into, and just have a blast. And I think. I'm so excited to see what they Like I feel like even when you're watching the movie, like like sometimes you get like bored at certain parts and stuff, and it's just like knowing like that anything could probably happen at any point is going to be a huge part of this movie.
Yeah, for sure. I think it feels like an event in a way that like we haven't had a Marvel movie feel like for a while.
Because like No Way Home, I think, has been the last like, and like not saying every Marvel thing has to be an event. Like I think I actually think that's kind of the hard point that they kind of fell onto, where it's like, oh yeah, every movie has to feel like an event, and then they can't live up to that event. So that was kind of a thing they fell into. But like, no, it truly does feel like an event, and very like casually as well. Like it doesn't feel like, all right, here's all the things in our movie. Here's this cameo and this one, and here's like your Elektra, and here's this and that. Like this is a very simple trailer. It's very kind of like, here's Wade. We're showing him and his family. He's going through the TVA. There's a couple fight scenes, and then it's over. Right? Like there's not a lot there, and yet I feel like they can almost get away with not showing anything else.
They know this
yeah.
Like I think they could just show like different versions of this trailer, maybe a couple shots here and there that are different. But like,
I'll be honest. If this was the only trailer we got, I would be okay with that.
I'd be really happy with that.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Just like nothing. Like, because again, I think this is all within the first like 15-20 minutes.
Yeah,
like
I think yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Connor, I'm very curious. A thing that you said on your video, you didn't hear about the Fox thing, right? The Fox sign.
I did like later on, like after I'd seen the trailer, I saw, but like, was there like a leak to say that's a big part of it or something?
Well, no, I mean, we saw those photos like 4 or 5 months ago, where like they were.
No, I didn't see those photos then. I've had Deadpool and Wolverine muted on my Twitter since the first Hugh Jackman picture dropped.
Well, that's good,
because I was like, that's it. I want to be fresh. I don't want to see any of this. And then like that. So yeah, I had no idea about that, and I just thought that was really cool. But like, so I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of pretty commonly known leaks and rumors that I've somehow avoided, which I generally don't do for these films. So yeah, I'm hyped to see what I don't get spoiled for.
Yeah, that was a pretty huge one where like you saw the big upper shot and you get to see the giant sign, and it was like, that would have been a nice joke inside the movie, or like even the like trailer, and it was just one of those like, what the like, it's the actual Fox, like the Fox logo sign. What are they doing there? And I think it's also very upsetting, like as CW fans for a while over the years, we were doing a lot of those, sharing the leaks and talking about the photos. And
I was definitely bad for that as well.
Yeah, and like looking back on it, I was like, maybe I shouldn't have done that so much. Like I was kind of hurting myself in a lot of those ways. But then you have these people, and like if you're a YouTuber, I understand. Like, okay, spoilers, we're going into these types of, like, I understand that. But like, just like you're like discussing film, or like, all right, new set photos from Deadpool was like, those are leaks. You can't be posting that, buddy. Like, you're a public forum. I don't know if you should be doing that.
They're doing it for Daredevil at the moment, and it's like,
yeah,
cool. I'm glad we had certain things confirmed, but we don't need to see beat for beat every single thing that's happening in these scenes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first couple were cool. It's like, okay, they're back. No, stop showing me anything else.
Yeah, like I don't want to see any more after that.
No, yeah, I'll literally like, thank God for notifications, because I'll literally like I won't go scrolling on Twitter anymore. Like if I don't have to.
Smart.
Because like I'll just like, if I see like a headline like where it tells me something, I'm scrolling.
Nope.
No, I don't want to know.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's pretty smart. I should start doing that.
I'm too addicted to it, I think. I can't help myself. I mean, just kind of thoughts on that final, just like Wolverine shot with like Logan going.
I just love the restraint of not actually showing Hugh Jackman's face at all. Like just 2 back shots, and we don't even know if the other one is Hugh Jackman for sure. So
yeah,
that's pretty hype.
Oh yeah, the like catch one, right?
Yeah, the white suit one.
Yeah, I'm very curious because I've heard a lot of theory, and I think it's like the right amount of theories of like, I don't think it's gonna be a point where like, if that's not Hugh Jackman, I don't think people will be disappointed because it's Hugh Jackman, right? But if it is like a like Daniel Radcliffe type thing, it'd be like, oh,
that'd be really cool.
Do we think that that's our Logan, or do we think it would Elseworld?
It would make sense knowing they did John Krasinski for Mr. Fantastic and Doctor Strange, like take a real big fan theory and make it like a cameo version of that character.
Sure.
Yeah.
I Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good. No, I was just gonna say that I think it's good that they're, like you were talking about, that they're doing that, because obviously with a movie like Deadpool with so many different appearances and stuff, and the fact that the movie's literally called Deadpool and Wolverine, that they're literally not even showing one of their main characters' faces, and that's like, I mean, curiosity is going to kill everyone.
Exactly.
You know, like, oh, why wouldn't they just show his face? Maybe it's not Hugh Jackman. You know what I mean? So I think that's gonna,
yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Did we know the whole Deadpool 1 and 2 cast were back? Because that was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know that, actually.
I was kind of like, wow.
Yeah, we had heard about most of the people coming back. Like,
was that
I
from
remember. No, it's like
really?
the official stuff.
Oh, damn.
I remember the Peter one being like very like confusing for people. Like, Domino isn't back, but Peter is, and we're just like, that's a weird choice. That's a weird choice. Why didn't you call her?
Because I saw even Real Rejects were like surprised when they did their reaction. They were like, oh, they're all back? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know how common it was, but like discussing film were posting how they were back and stuff like that. So
I didn't see that.
But it was just very nice to like see them back, like just to kind of see them all, and like very like earnest Wade as well. Like I was fully just like, expecting him to be like, oh, you fuckers, you're here with me, but it's a very like nice scene where he's like, I love you guys, and you guys are the most important part of me. I was like, oh my gosh, like you're just.
I think the actual scene will probably be a little bit more him.
Yeah, like I was at a point. I was like, are you dying here? Like are you sick? Are you about to like? Do you have like a month to like live or something? Like, because that's kind of like what that scene kind of gave me, and like he has the hair. And I was like, oh no, you feel different, Wade. It's also been 6 years since the last movie, so a lot could have happened. But no, I'm very excited, and it kind of gives me the vibe that he's kind of settled into his life a little bit more.
I think
he's
so.
Kind of accepted his role as maybe a superhero. I kind of got the vibe maybe he's not currently Deadpool. Like maybe he put up the suit for a while, or he's just kind of being Wade.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's just, I don't know. That's not the case, but that's kind of just the vibe I got there.
Just enjoying life.
Yeah, it was a nice cake. What do we think that he wished for? Because that's been like a big theory. Like, oh, like what did he wish for on his cake? Or does that
Wolverine.
not matter at all?
Wish for Wolverine.
I miss Logan. I could see it. I could see like I miss, I don't know, like something like I want more control over my life, or
maybe.
I would love if his wish was to be in the MCU. Like he knows about it.
Really funny.
I
want to meet Captain America. I want to meet Captain America. It'd be really cool if like he wandered into the She-Hulk final, considering that was also a fourth wall breaking thing.
Actually would be funny. I think that they definitely meet at some point. Like I think She-Hulk and Wade, like they have to. I'm so sick of like the arguments, or I guess the like, oh, Wade's better than She-Hulk and She-Hulk's better than Wade. I was like, they both are cool, man.
Yeah.
Like, stop it. Like having to put just down She-Hulk. Yeah, no, I mean She-Hulk always gets so much shit on, and I think some of it's somewhat valid. I think a lot of it is also just not valid. Like there's just so much weirdness around that show. Like Connor, I know you're not a huge fan of it, but also
I mean, I think it's fine. I just think like certain episodes I don't like, but certain episodes I do like. But I really respect the episodic format and the fact that it was an actual TV show in comparison to some of the other Disney Plus stuff.
I think that my biggest issue with it is like the whole story overall, but there were like episodes that like the one specifically that I really remember enjoying was the one with like the rocket fuel and like where Daredevil comes in, like he's in the lawyer like thing. Like I did like when he was fighting, but I also liked when he was just like, I like that stuff. And there were a few things that like I liked just, with She-Hulk and stuff. Like I liked a lot of the earlier episodes, I think.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I mean, that show as a whole, I think, just worked better when it wasn't like when it was a like episodic format. Like, I don't think the story worked for it. Like, they clearly were like, okay, we have to have this like overarching villain and story. It has to all be a thing. And I think it should have just been like every episode is its own thing. Like, it's a full on just sitcom. It's about its characters and about its love interests and stuff like that. Like, I think that would work better for it. And if it came back, that's what I would want it to be. And it's looking like it's probably not coming back after all.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. I just hope they don't like wrap the character as a whole, because I'd really like to see the character just stay in the MCU, even if like their show's gone.
Yes, I agree.
That's like the one thing from the Disney Plus shows like She-Hulk and Moon Knight. It's like they would really benefit from second seasons, because where are we going to see them again if we don't get second seasons?
Yeah, I mean, I know you're like Moon Knight is like rumored to be like a Midnight Sun thing. Like that's been a big rumor this past week. I was like, I'm not bringing it up yet because I don't believe that. But like, I could see him popping in there. She-Hulk is harder because like maybe like an Avengers, maybe a Deadpool or something like that. But like maybe a Hulk movie. There's rumors that they're in like a Captain America, but also like I don't know. Like it's there's
talk right now.
All talk, and I don't know. Like she's definitely a character that's much harder than like a Moon Knight, I think.
Yeah.
Or like, even like a Miss Marvel, where like she has your like Young Avengers or something.
I'd want both of them to show up like somewhere else separately before an Avengers film. The same with like Miss Marvel was in the Marvels before she's in Young Avengers, just to kind of slowly bring them into the wider MCU. Yeah.
Probably like Captain America then. I would assume like she's someone lawyer and Sam has to go talk to her about something or something like that. Before we like move on from this, do we have any opinions on a Pyro coming back?
I think it's wild choice.
Yeah.
It makes me think they've got like bigger X-Men movie characters that they're not showing
if they're
yet.
Gonna show that, if they're gonna show that in the trailer,
for sure.
And 100%. I mean, I didn't even recognize him at first. Like this was prior to me kind of watching those films, and then I had sat down and watched X2 and recently the Last Stand. It's like, oh yeah, that is him. It's also been like 20 years, so a lot could have happened within this time. And apparently he recently had just said like last week about something being like, oh yeah, I mean, I would like to come back at some point in time. It'd be cool if I get that chance. And then like a week later, it's like, nope, I'm back.
Here I am. Andrew Garfield's School of Lying.
Yeah. Very funny. I'm curious. Again, I think that kind of stuff is planned. I think we're going to get a lot of those like Fox universe type characters coming back. So. I'm just very curious to see how they do it, because again, I think you definitely can be it can be too much, and I think Ryan Reynolds knows that. Like I think they knew about the whole. I actually think they're going to make fun of the fact. It's like, oh, this is a cameo movie. Let's do it. Like I think they're going to know that going into the film. So I'm very curious.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of being curious, the trailer for X-Men 97 I love that. Sick. Oh, hold on. X-Men. Colonel, let's start with you. It feels like your leg in general or something. Colonel. But what's your thoughts on the X-Men 97 trailer?
So when I was growing up, obviously I wasn't born in 1997, but
really?
I'm excited for this, and also the fact that like when I know it's like a very look at that,
that's awesome.
The fact that when they put this out, they had like that whole new Marvel animation logo. That was like the first thing that I was like, whoa, like because then it's like, okay, so we're like they're definitely gonna dive more into animated projects. But the trailer itself, no, I thought it was good. I was so nervous that the animation was gonna look too new. And I was like, please don't mess it up. Please don't mess it up. And it looks good. I don't really have any complaints about the animation. I'm just kind of wait to see.
More. Yeah. I mean, this still has been going around for these last month and a half or so, and it's been getting like attacked a lot. And I think this is an example of why you can't, especially in this format, you can't just see a frame of something and judge it based off of that. I think in movement, like, just by its own, it looks a little weird, but in movement, it looks very like anime type. Like, I think just the way characters are moving, the style of it, it looks very like fluid in it. And I think like, I don't think you could just do the same style as the classic. Like, I don't know if that would work in 2023 or 2024. I mean, like, I don't know if people would be like, I feel like a lot of people would be like, this doesn't look good. They didn't try, or all these types of things. And I do think you needed something that does stand apart from the original show, and just kind of make its mark. Connor, do you have any thoughts on just like how it looks? And
the original show was a little before my time as well, so I didn't really grow up with it or anything. So I've only started watching it 3 years ago. I think I watched the first 2 seasons, and then I've keep meaning to go back to it because I do want to finish it. I'll definitely go back before the new show's out. But I mean, that music is so iconic. Like my entire life, I have been hearing that music, and it's just so good. It's like it's easily, I think, the most iconic animated superhero show's music. Like I know, like the Batman the animated series music is iconic, but I would say the X-Men animated music is more iconic. Like I would say, growing up, I heard the X-Men music way more than like the Batman animated series music. But I also love that poster and the retro VHS look. I love those kind of things so much. I think it's really unique, and it already sets this thing aside from the other Marvel animated projects we've had on Disney Plus so far. Because I love, getting at Marvel Animation as a proper banner, same as like getting the Marvel Spotlight. Was that what the Echo thing was called? Yeah. Kind of gives a sense that they're really kind of diversifying their content output, and they're really kind of going in a few different directions. It's great that it's for this year we're getting this because we've got 4 animated projects this year. So I'm guessing they're all falling underneath this banner, which kind of makes it hype. I wasn't the craziest about the animation style, but it's something that I think I'll get used to once I see it properly in motion. Plus, I assume what they're trying to do is make all of the various animation projects we've got this year be a little bit stylistically different. And I think this definitely feels like a go-between between modern day animation and X-Men from the 90s animation. So I think it's kind of a good middle ground. And it's a good way to kind of make it look different to like What If, because What If was definitely much more kind of cleaner in its animation. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, same. I'm currently going through the show for like the first time. I just looked. I have 15 left, which I'll watch over the course of the next 4 weeks or so, and actually lined up very well. Like I think I finished the 11th, and then it comes out the 20th, so I lined it up very well. No, this got me beyond hype, and I'm not sure how much of that is currently watching it and kind of like leading up to this moment, and how much of it is just the music. Like the music did absolutely wonders. I think. This music just kind of does something, I think, because like both times it's appeared in the MCU thus far, that has got me more excited than anything in the projects themselves. Like Xavier, the music coming out, it's like, all right, this is like I'm geeking out inside the theater. And then with their Miss Marvel, that was like a different reaction. It was like, oh my gosh, like what? Like what are you doing here? But like, no, it looks really, really good, and it feels like they really have captured the fun of the classic show, while also capturing how dark that show gets, because that show gets very dark, and they touch on some very serious themes. And I think that's what the X-Men are. Like they are these storylines are very personal. I think there's a lot to talk about and a lot to go into, and I think going off of where they ultimately seemingly end in the show, and it seems like a very interesting take. I love Cyclops here, man. Like I truly do. Like in the films, I've always thought Cyclops was done so absolutely dirty. They clearly did not know what to do with that guy. They did not know how to treat him. Like he does nothing in the first one. He's kind of there in the second, and then they kill him off in the first couple minutes of the third one. It's like, what are you doing here? Like they clearly just wanted to make 3 Logan films and not really focus on these characters. But no, I mean the animation. I love the shots of Gambit jumping on Logan's back and him using his claws as weapons. Like that is sick as hell. Like that great, is so metal. Like just this shot of them all like slowly landing, and it's like my X-Men. It's like, oh, that's what Xavier said. Like it's so good. And I think right now, like between this and Deadpool 3 might be my most anticipated Marvel thing. I don't know, like maybe that's just me like in the hype of the moment. Like it had just it just came out like 3-4 hours ago, so maybe I'm just like kind of living on that high. But no, I'm very hyped to see, and it comes out soon, next month, less than a month away.
Like 4 weeks pretty much, because it's the 15th of February now, so 20th of March. It's like really soon. I keep forgetting March is like next month as well. It's wild. I wonder, like, whenever they do the first X-Men What If episode, because I think they've said season 3 won't have anything X-Men related. So, like, season 4 and beyond, if they do a What If episode, I wonder if they'll have the animation style be the same as 97, or if they'll make it like the What If animation, just keep going there.
Yeah. What if the animation was different? Yeah.
I also think it's very smart how I think they've been doing the X-Men. Like, clearly they're not using them until after this saga of films, like the multiverse saga, at least in a big way, as far as like their canon X-Men. But I think how they've been sprinkling it in has been very smart. Like having Miss Marvel have that theme, having Xavier, having Deadpool 3, and I think having this show kind of be this holdover until we can get proper X-Men content is brilliant.
Yeah.
Like I think that is very smart. Where it's like, all right, we can't make our own movies yet. We're kind of slowly weaving our way into that, but let's bring back the most iconic version of those characters you can enjoy and talk about while we wait for this all to happen. So,
for sure,
I think that's very smart. Stranger asked, have they said how many seasons they are making it? Because I heard different things. I've heard they're doing 2 seasons, and I heard they're doing 4. So currently, it's a go for 2 seasons. So this is the first season, and they already, I think they're almost done with the second season. So like they've been kind of working on the 2 at once. I would assume it depends on how well this does. If we get a season 3 or a season 4 or even a season 5 or whatever, like if it does well for their company, then I bet they would be like, yeah, give it a 3rd or 4th season. If it doesn't, it could also be a thing of like, nope, we're done or whatever. Yeah. So that'd be very interesting. Kind of speaking of like their like animation section, again, we have a lot that's coming out this year. We have the Wakanda show. We have the Spider-Man as well.
Yeah,
I know we have What If coming. Yeah, we have zombies at some points. What's something that you guys would like to see under this banner though? Like, is there another show you'd like to come back? Is there just a character in the MCU you'd like to get this treatment or something?
I mean,
honestly, I would love if like, because I don't know what they're totally doing with Young Avengers. I would love to see an animated Young Avengers series.
That'd be really cool.
Ooh, cool. Yeah,
that'd be really cool. Yeah, I guess like I would kind of like to see like just a mainline Avengers animation, like even if it's I don't know, because it feels like in the movies the Avengers haven't really like been together a lot. Like they haven't really done much. Like we know that they sort of did stuff between Avengers 1 and Age of Ultron, so seeing maybe some animated adventures there, or even just animated adventures that kind of set up the new team dynamic, so that because we're not going to get a whole lot of, there's so many new characters, we need to know who is on the new team. So I feel like an animated show, like a brief animated 6-episode show or something like that, will be really good at kind of setting up who is the new Avenger, who isn't, sort of thing.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that. I kind of think like a MCU anthology series outside of What If would be very smart. Like, maybe maybe What If ends after these next couple seasons, and then we get that where like, it's maybe instead of getting a like Agatha TV show, we spend like 45-50 minutes on an episode that's just her, right? Maybe we give like Ironheart an episode, and so like maybe not every character needs their own thing, but we spend time in this form tackling all these different characters. I would also just love if we start bringing back some of the old shows, like Earth's Mightiest Heroes, if we can get that another season, or a 90s Spider-Man. Like, if this does well, can we do 90s Spider-Man? Like, I know they're already doing a Spider-Man show, but like maybe this does well, they could bring that back. Maybe Spider-Man cameos in the show. I don't know how that works, because they're part of that same world, so I think that could be kind of cool.
For sure.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
I think like animated Marvel movies would be cool as well.
Oh like yeah, that'd be great. In like a theater would be great.
Yeah,
I think that'd be awesome. All right, we're heading towards the end here. We have a couple more things here. First look at Invincible Season 2, Part 2 have been released. We've talked about this a couple of times over these last months or so, kind of our frustration towards the Invincible break and how maybe that wasn't their smartest take. Connor, are you hyped by this trailer? I had just watched it a couple minutes prior to going live today. I was like, I need to get this watched. Thoughts on it?
I loved the first 4 episodes, and I think that the delay was the stupidest thing they could have done, because I personally feel like all the hype is gone. I mean, even when it's dominating the conversation surrounding the show now. Like when this first look was released, you had people hyped for it, obviously, but in general, I saw way more people being like,
X-Men.
X-Men as well, but I saw way more people like when talking about Invincible saying, oh, this is coming back, forgot this was coming back. Oh, the break kind of ruined the hype for me. The break killed it for me.
Yeah.
Whereas if they just released it with the other 4, or even just taken a much shorter like Christmas break, because they said the break was because they wanted to break for Christmas, then why is it coming back in March? It should have been back in like January.
Yeah.
I think it's just because it is a great show, and after waiting so long, like, I genuinely feel like the only reason they released the first 4 episodes in November and October, I think, wasn't it October to November?
Yeah.
Like, the only reason they released it then was because they had already made the promise that this show was coming out in 2023, so they had to get something out in 2023. And I'm worried this is going to be like their go-to now, where they said we're going to have Invincible every year. So now they've got Invincible coming out now for 2024. That means they don't have to release anything till end of 2025 for the next season, and then they're covered to just do this going forward. Which I don't know, because somebody came out and said that like the animation was done. Like, it wasn't a delay because of animation needing to be finished. It was a delay just because they wanted to like wait for the Amazon ad thing to launch. They wanted to get more just gaps between the shows. I don't know. I think it's going to be good. I will obviously watch it, but I think the break kind of ruined the momentum.
Really quickly, Colonel, you have to leave, right?
I do. I apologize.
Oh no, that's okay, buddy. Really quickly, where can people find you?
YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. Those are my main 3 that I use.
Alrighty, links will be down below. Thank you so much. We would love to have you back at some point.
Absolutely.
You were a blast. Thank you so much. Have a great one, buddy.
Yes, thank you guys for having me. Take care, guys.
Of course. Bye-bye. Well, I don't know who that was. No, I was kidding. He's great. But no, this trailer, I kind of felt the same as you, where like it was a really good trailer, like especially as it's going on. I was like, oh, this is really good. But I do think I definitely still had the X-Men on my mind as this is coming out. Like I definitely think they maybe posted it at the worst moment possible. Like
should have held off till next week, because like I assume Marvel's not going to announce a whole lot next week, because it's going to be they announced all their stuff this week.
Yeah, no, and it looked good. Like we went, like it seems like we're kind of actually going back to more of like a status quo than I was expecting us to go in. Like we kind of jump in and like he's kind of hanging out on the planet a little bit, and he's he goes back home and they're sending him back to space. So I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, I was kind of fully expecting this back half to be very focused on like kind of just nonstop. I had to get my dad back, and I have to do this, and I have to do that, and I have to do all these things. So yeah, no, I'm very excited. March is actually just going to be insane for just stuff like What If and this, and is Fallout next month?
Fallout is April.
Fallout's April.
Yeah, so
I think
all
your films and stuff that are coming out as well.
Yeah, so I think it's like for Amazon, it's this starting mid-March, and then Fallout starts the week this ends, and then The Boys starts the week Fallout ends. So Amazon's pretty covered for the next while.
Sure. Yeah. I love the like Parasite thing as well. Like that seems like maybe one of the, I don't know if it's like a season threat or if it's just like a one-off thing, but like they seem to be doing like a Parasite thing where they attach themselves to all the heroes and all of that kind of fun stuff.
No, I'm really interested. I think Invincible, it's a really, really, really strong show. It needs to come out a little bit more consistently. Like it could be so much bigger than it is if it was on people's screens more, you know?
Yeah, I do. I definitely do. Thoughts on like where we're taking our like Nolan stuff, because it feels like he might just be stuck up there by himself. Like again, I was fully expecting Mark to go over there and save him, and then they escape back to Earth or something. But it seems like he just kind of like, all right, Dad, see ya. Like,
all right, well, I'm ahead out.
Yeah,
no, I think it's interesting. I think it's slightly unexpected but good way to take the character. Like I think it'll lead to a lot of good character development stuff. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I'm very curious where we just, again, there's only 4 left. Like that's not a lot.
It's not.
And it seems like they're doing a lot. Like there's so many plot lines that are just currently open, a lot of villains. They have the multiverse storyline, which has been like my least favorite. It's been my least favorite element, not because it's bad, but just because I do feel like there's a lot of other things happening with
should be left for another season. It feels like it shouldn't be
and
happening
maybe it
right
will
now.
Be. Like maybe we don't finish it this season. Like it's it's kind of like a setup, and then we come back to it in season 3 or season 4. It's like a long-winded thing. I don't know. I'm curious.
I would kind of hope so.
Come back. Yeah.
Because I'm more interested in like the Viltrumites and how Mark's going to deal with how that ended in episode 4. Like I'm more interested in that sort of stuff.
100%, 100%. I'm trying to think. I only watched it once. So I'm trying to think. The Guardians. We have that scene where like all the Guardians are facing that like alien threat thing.
Yeah.
I have a feeling some of those characters might die because it seems like a scene
so.
where like you have a lot of characters there. You slaughter a couple that make it feel bigger. Or if they don't die, like you have that scene from like season 1 where like they all get badly brutal, like they all come close to death.
Yeah.
So
well, they've said like episode 8 is the most insane episode of the show. So I think we're probably gonna see some deaths there.
See some bigger things there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see what we do. Again, next month is going to be insane. Now, Connor, our last kind of thing here, we kind of wanted to circle back around on our gaming topic from last week. Did anything kind of interesting come out from that event?
Not really. It was it was a 22-minute like just video that they just uploaded to YouTube. We're just like, yeah, so what's happening is 4 games are going to other platforms. That's it. They didn't even name what the 4 games are. The rumors are Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, and another game that I forgot the name of, but it's like 3 not too big games. They said Starfield, Indiana Jones, and like future big exclusives like that won't be going to PlayStation or the Switch or anything. So it was kind of, for how much they hyped it up, made it seem like it was bad news. It was pretty standard. Like, I don't see why this couldn't have just been a Twitter announcement last week, like why they had to drag it out and be like, there's a big video coming, get ready. So yeah, I know. All the YouTubers who are kind of freaking out about it seem to be dialing back now and kind of going back on it, saying, okay, well, Xbox isn't dead like we all thought they were.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, well, that's good. You don't have to say goodbye to a studio that you guys like. So
that is very true.
I would say that's always a good sign. I would suppose.
For sure.
So yeah, that's everything I kind of have lined up for today. Do you have anything that you want to look back on as all the things that we talked about? Like, I feel like there was a lot here, a lot of trailers. There's like a favorite trailer.
My favorite trailer was definitely Deadpool. Like, I think I was excited for Deadpool, but that trailer kind of it got me hyped because it was a kind of reaffirmation that it's real. Like, it's a real project that's coming out.
That's
coming out soon. Like, I appreciate this trailer didn't come out, I don't know, mid last year, the way some trailers do, where they're almost a year in advance, because I feel like with Deadpool, and maybe it's because I haven't been looking at the leaks, but for Deadpool, I feel like we haven't gotten too much big announcements about the film over the last few years, so it feels like it hasn't been as in our face as like Fantastic Four is, where we're constantly hearing things about it. So yeah, definitely the most excited I am. Fantastic Four casting, I think it's going to be really cool. I wonder why the MCU decided, or just Marvel Studios decided this was the week where they're just going to drop everything, because it's like,
I felt like a Comic-Con.
It did a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, definitely wasn't because of Madam Web. I don't think so. I don't know why they'd be scared of Madam Web.
Yeah. I mean, that's still money, right? Like,
it is,
they wouldn't want to lose money. I
guess Madam Web coming out on Valentine's Day probably meant it was going to get more money than if it came out in April the way Morbius did.
It may have just been like coincidence because like Super Bowl, they obviously want those numbers, and I think it very much helped those numbers. Fantastic Four was like Valentine's Day. They wanted to,
well, they were overdue on Fantastic Four. I think
that's fair.
They had to get that out for a while,
And then X-Men might just be a thing where it's like, well, it's out next month. Yeah. So like, let's just and like maybe it's a thing where everyone's talking about like Deadpool and Fantastic Four. Let's just ride the hype train.
Yeah, it could link in.
So maybe it's just a thing where it's like it all fits now. And then we won't have anything for months and months and months. Yeah. Do we think that like X-Men's going to be a weekly thing, or do we think they're going to just drop it all at once? Because I haven't heard.
I could see it being like a 3-episode first drop and then weekly after that. I don't think they're going to do a What If thing, because I feel like What If kind of.
Yeah, I think that has to be just What If. Yeah. I think What If can do that and nothing else can.
Yeah, What If kind of I feel like it made it hard for people to discuss individual episodes because it was like, wait, did you see today's episode? No, I'm talking about yesterday's episode, sort of thing. Whereas like with X-Men, if it's weekly, you know, it gives people a chance to really kind of digest it and talk about it.
Right. Yeah, it was very awkward because like the like day that we would like typically do the show, it's like, oh what, but we have 2 left after this, so like we'll just wait until the following week to talk about it, and by that point everyone stopped talking about it, so it's like that's kind of awkward. I don't know. I liked it because like there was a hype around having a new MCU thing every day. Like there was something really fun about that. But if they never do it again, I would also understand.
Yeah, I think I prefer like either the all at once drop or the weekly drop. I think
sure.
one a day was cool, but it definitely got to the point I think around the middle of the season where I kept forgetting there was a new episode out. It's like, oh, I just watched an episode of that. How's there a new episode out? Oh yeah, it's daily.
Yeah.
Like so, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair. I'm excited. There's a lot of fun stuff happening within these next couple months and where we're taking everything. But Connor, thank you for being here. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate
Behind
it.
the Colonel for joining us. It was check out all of their stuff. They post a lot of reactions to all these trailers and all these movies and all of that fun stuff. Connor, do you have any plan? You have a Madam Web thing coming out, right?
Review on Madam Web, yeah. I did maybe tonight actually. I might try and fish at it. That. So yeah.
What was
Look out for that?
What was your how was your Valentine's Day Madam Web experience?
Well, it was spent watching Madam Web, so how good can it be? No, look, my one recommendation out there is Madam Web is not as bad as Morbius. So
interesting. We'll be talking about Madam Web next week. I'm seeing it on.
I'm actually excited for that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What an interesting turn, because
no, genuinely.
Couple days ago, like you were like, I don't think I'm seeing this.
All right. Those reactions came out and I was like, I'm not seeing that film. That looks so bad. And then it's just it's not good, but it's just such it felt like a fever dream, the entire thing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not excited, but I'm curious.
When do you see it?
Saturday probably.
Okay.
I think I'll do a Saturday. I might do like a double feature of your like Lisa Frankenstein and your
cool.
Madam Web. That might be fun.
Cool.
But yeah, thank you everyone that stopped in today and chatted with us. We had Stranger, we had Go to Horny Jail, we had Dylan, we had Chainsaw Reactions in the house, Hero's Journey, Darth Bunny. We had a lot of people today. Thank you everyone who stopped by and chatted with us again. Madam Web next week. Should be fun. It should be an interesting talk. This see kind of where I guess the future of the Sonyverse goes, if you will. But without further ado, it shall be interesting. I will see you guys.
It'll be a movie, all right.
Bye bye.